Good evening or afternoon, everyone, depending on where you are, and thanks for joining us on the Rock and Roll channel on Talk Shop Live. I'm your host, Steve Harkins, and last week, if you missed it, we featured Danny Seraphim, co-founder of Chicago, and a Rock and Roll Hall of Famer, and he's still signing CDs and vinyl albums. So after tonight's show, go back, click on the Rock and Roll channel banner on Talk Shop Live, and pick up Danny's autographed albums. And we also still have signed items by Peter Frampton, Alice Cooper, John Densmore of The Doors, Mark Farner, formerly of Grand Funk Railroad, a band called Blue Coupe, members of the Blue Oyster Cult, and original member of the Alice Cooper Group, and a cool limited package from Cream Magazine. And one of the greatest aspects of hosting on the Rock and Roll channel is I get to meet the most talented musicians in the world, and today is certainly no exception, I have to say. I've been waiting for this moment since 1975 when I first heard her in Chicago on WLUP, The Loop. But first, Marty, roll the digital.
Can't see nothing in front of me. Can't see nothing coming up behind. Make my way through this darkness. Can't feel nothing but this chain that binds me. Lost track of how far I've gone. How far I've gone, how high I've climbed. On my back's a 60-pound stone. On my shoulder, half a mile line. Come on up for the rising. Come on up, lay your hand in mine. Come on up for the rising. Come on up for the rising tonight. Left the house this morning. Felt the wind and they feel the air. So wearing the cross of my calling. On wheels of fire come rolling on me. Come on up for the rising. Come on up, lay your hands in mine. Come on up for the rising. Come on up for the rising tonight. Behind me, faces gone black, in mine. Baby, precious word behind me. Words I said,
Well, born in San Francisco, raised in Southern California, then Thailand, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong later, Nancy. Finally settling in the Seattle area, relocated to Vancouver to join forces with a group that had been courting her for some time. And in 1975, their first album took off after some sweat and tears, and more than 45 years later, we're not even supposed to say that because it's mind-boggling, and you see her today and you wouldn't believe it. It's 16 albums released, over 35 million sold, several million fans have been entertained live in concert. She co-authored the New York Times best-selling book, Kicking and Dreaming, a story of heart, soul, and rock and roll. 8 years later, I suspect she could already write a companion book. An ASCAP award for Jerry Maguire, a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, induction in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, We're proud to welcome in celebration of her new album, You and Me, Nancy Wilson. You're getting a virtual standing ovation. You just can't hear or see it. Trust me. Great to see you. Thanks for being here.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure, and in honor of this evening, Nancy has graciously agreed to sign copies of her CD purchased. A great opportunity to own a great new album and own a rare rock and roll memento with Nancy's signature on it. You can submit questions and comments for Nancy tonight using chat. And Nancy, I have to ask you first, how's the pandemic been to those in the Nancy Wilson household?
Well, we actually left LA to move up to Northern California right as the shutdown happened. And it was really a lucky break because, me and my husband, Jeff, who, don't mind being shut in together, actually. I'll put it that way. We were saying, if there's anybody I want to be in lockdown with, it's you, honey, And so we have this beautiful new home, and we were kind of moving in and nesting and kind of landscaping and working in the garden. So, and then I also had my first ever studio space outside the house itself.
Is that right?
To write and to work and to, make a bunch of ruckus. So, because we were not on the road and I didn't have to pack my bag and go out and live out of a suitcase and, eat bad pizza for a while.
Right.
I figured out, well, this is the perfect opportunity without having to take a sabbatical away from the band to actually make my own music. And it kind of saved my life being able to be creative during this really trying time,
I'll bet.
A lot of musicians have done that too. And it's kind of cool to see that because, a lot of people are so busy. You're always late. You have so many things to hurry up and get done. And, in this case, for a lot of people, not just creative people, I think, it's been a real blessing in disguise because we kind of returned to our own selfhood in many ways. And working from home has been a really, a lot of people have said to me, I don't think I really want to go back to that office anymore.
So true.
I'm getting plenty of stuff done here without driving and get stuck in traffic and going, to an office. And, so it's an interesting lesson we've all sort of had to inadvertently learn from the shutdown and the whole situation we've figured out. So we've become flexible.
That's right. Now I'm admiring your dog pacing back and forth. That's a special guest appearance over on your right. I think he just went behind there. He's camera shy.
You might see more than one in the area. There's 4.
That's okay. They're all welcome.
They're all welcome. Well, I like that in the during this shutdown time, like when you see people on the news channels and you see people from their homes, broadcasting,
right,
like MSNBC or something from their own homes, and you hear the dogs barking behind, and you see some cat strolls by, and you're like, oh wow, they're really in their house.
Exactly.
And what they're, how they've decorated their background, and it's interesting.
It really is. Yeah, it's put me in a position where I have to redecorate now, because compared to others, I guess I failed. So, but I'm on a mission.
Your background looks good. I mean, my kitchen, it's very homey.
It looks great. It's fantastic. So, hey, this doesn't have anything to do with the album, but I had to ask you. You have a beautiful middle name, Lamoureux, right?
Lamoureux, yeah.
Lamoureux. Where did that come from?
Well, my dad's mom was Beatrice Lamoureux. That was her maiden name. She was a French lady.
Right.
So, and it translates to mean the lovers, which is really appropriate in my case because I'm one of the lovers and I write about love, and I've aimed a lot of songwriting up at love, tried to practice it, kind of a religious love zealot type person. Yeah.
It kind of paved the pathway for you, right? Musically.
Yeah. That was the perfect middle name for me.
Yeah,
I only learned how to spell it myself when I was about 4, because
is that
there's an
right?
EAUX at the end, you know.
That stuff. I had to write it down phonetically, and I still screwed it up. But I'm not going to forget it this time. That's for sure. But hey, let me be the first to also wish you a happy Mother's Day. Billy Curtis just turned 21, right?
They sure did. Yep.
Yeah. How will you be celebrating? Not all of you together, right?
I think we're going to do a Zoom like we've been doing for various, you know, holidays and occasions. And it's always, you know, I haven't seen. Well, I saw one of them recently in the Santa Monica area because we were able to travel to get to the LA area for some work. So I
Right.
saw my one boy, but my other boy, Curtis, is in Montreal. He was going to Concordia University there, and the shutdown happened, and he hasn't been able, still can't go in or out of there. So we'll be zooming more often, and he's a guitar player. He wrote some of the lyrics for one of my songs.
Yeah, we want to talk about that tonight for sure. And you're also celebrating, of course, the release of Nancy Wilson's new album, You and Me, which is officially released tomorrow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And it's amazing to say this, Nancy, but after all this time, this is your first solo record, right?
Yeah, I mean, I had an album out in '99, which was a live album, live at McCabe's Guitar Shop, but
Right.
it was never really intended to be a release. Somebody just turned on a DAT player, I think it was. Somebody recorded it.
I
In,
remember those.
yeah, remember those DATs? Oh
I
my
do.
God, I hated those things, but it sounded so bad. But anyway, so yeah, I did 2 shows in one day, and we got the best of, cut it together, and released it just under the wire, you know, underground kind of thing. It's still around; you can still find it.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. But this is the real studio for a studio album, and I've been such, you know, a rock person on the road for so many tours, and you know, I would have probably had to forsake a paycheck or two to actually set aside the time to do a studio solo album.
Right.
And I would have incurred some expense um, paying for a studio to rent, a studio to create in. But in this case, I was just doing everything at home by myself in a room
Right.
that's off of the house, the main house. So I was able to just leave all my stuff out, you know, just leave the amps plugged in, leave everything ready to just sit down and work, and not have to clean up after it, and not have to disturb anybody with my racket, you know, in the house. So um, the ruckus and the racket that
That's right.
I'm able to make. So, you know, it was really a good place to land in this new place where at the right time for this all to happen over this
Right.
year. Yeah.
Yeah, fortuitous for us as fans as well. And did you have like a vision of what shape you wanted the album to take, or did you just let it evolve organically?
Well, I had a song already recorded before I even started called, it's a cover of Pearl Jam's song Daughter.
Yep.
It was destined, still is destined for a film that I'd been asked to do a song for, uh, which is coming out. It's called I Am All Girls, and it's coming out May 14th, actually. And it's a beautiful, a powerful, true story that's very aspirational, that tells us a singular story about some human trafficking
Wow.
for once a couple of girls' stories, but it's a global thing, you know, that it addresses. And so I figured that song would be perfect for that film because there's the part in which the lyrics talk about she holds the hand, you know, that holds her down, and it's really, you know, coming from a woman's perspective too. I think it really works for the film really well, and I can't wait to see it all put together because I hope they do a premiere because I'll show up for that. But
Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
That's going to be released theatrically, it sounds like.
yeah, it's out. Oh, it's going to be on Netflix, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can look for that because theaters are not wide open yet.
Right. They're working on it.
They're working on it. I want the drive-ins back.
Yeah,
That's
you
what
and
I
me
want to do.
both.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I miss drive-ins for sure.
What a perfect opportunity, right?
I
To revisit
know.
those.
You could do concerts like that too.
Yeah, I
This,
think there's been a few attempts of that, a few
yeah,
country acts, for example, fairly
yeah,
successful.
yeah, and
All right.
put a decent speaker inside your car,
I'm
or
going to
just
call your husband Jeff. Maybe we'll partner together and
yeah,
open up a few.
yeah. Hey, maybe we could make some dough, man.
I'm thinking, not opposed to that at all. And
Yeah,
so the video that we saw in the opening, although I had a little video trouble. I'm not sure if everyone else did, but we had a chance to hear it from an audio standpoint. Is obviously the Rising, a cover of Springsteen, and a beautiful treatment of it. Tell us about your decision to record this, and what
yeah.
your connection is with Bruce.
Well, I've met Bruce a few times along the way. He's everything you would hope for, as a fan of Bruce Springsteen. And then you get to know him. It's like when you meet Paul McCartney. It's everything you hope he is. Like every decent, it's a decent, you know, um, just a really sweet person, really approachable
Right.
and funny and cool and cute. And so I knew that I had to go see the Springsteen on Broadway show.
Amazing show, right?
Did you get to see that?
I did. It was fantastic, jaw dropping.
It was, yeah, it was mind blowing. It really took me somewhere where I wasn't even expecting to go. I knew I didn't want to die without seeing that show.
Right.
You know? And so when we got there and we saw that, and it totally blew me away on such an emotional level because I'd always loved Bruce Springsteen songs and the radio, growing up with those great songs on the radio in your car, and but then seeing those songs all the way stripped down to their bare bones, and those lyrics,
Yeah.
and the storytelling too between the songs, and all the humanity of that and the depth of all of it, and the writing itself was just stunning writing. It's just amazingly, insanely great writing. And so I never had really heard those lyrics as well because there was all that production and his
Right.
rock and roll action. Oh, you ever? And kind of like, oh, okay, bro, oh, is that we're in the USA, I guess. So
Right.
you can always tell.
Finally got a chance to really know what the lyrics were, to your point. Yeah.
Hear all those words, and they're really such well crafted songs. And when we came up here to Northern California and the shutdown happened, and I started thinking about recording a new album, I thought, well, I should do the Rising because it was written for 9/11, right? And so now every day is at least one 9/11 going on in the world.
Yeah. Right.
So I figured coming from a woman's perspective, it might even be a little more, nurturing and kind of aspirational, because it talks about, I see Mary in the garden of a thousand sighs, and
Right.
such beautiful imagery and very Catholic, and in a beautiful way, like symbolic, on so many levels, not only Catholic, but on
Right.
all spiritual type levels. And I had really fun doing that song, and it was and it's like almost 5 minutes long, right? And
Right.
I think one of the other things about being in lockdown, I think everyone's regained their own attention span back because you want songs to go on and on. You want to be entertained. You want to binge on series, on TV, and you really want to be entertained, and you're not kind of like, oh, on to the next. Oh, I just heard the first 30 seconds. I'd like the next one.
Skip. Yep.
Next, skip that, skip that, skip that. Now I think people can really sink their teeth into, and appreciate stuff that's the creative people have given out to them.
It makes a lot of sense too because the timing of it. And I remember seeing Springsteen and the E Street Band when they were touring on that album, and it was really cathartic, right? I mean, you sent a chill up your spine when he would perform that song, and the beauty of you covering it, I think is well, first of all, your vocal approach, which you did a really great Springsteen tonight, but you don't imitate Springsteen vocally on the album, and it does add a whole nother dimension to it. And in the end too, there's a great arrangement there that again kind of sends a chill up your spine. And not just the pandemic, but also just the political environment that we've gone through as a country, and the social unrest, everything involved. I mean, and thank you for delivering this, because it's the one common thread that we have, which is music, and it's pretty powerful.
Yeah, I think music is a healer.
Yeah.
It's kind of something that's in our cellular memory. I always like to talk about this because it's not just something that your brain understands. It's also goes vibrationally into your whole body and the cellular structure
Yep.
and your cellular memory. And so like people with Alzheimer's, like my mom, for example, before all of her, systems were shutting down, but the last thing she remembered were the songs we played for her. And that's the last thing to go,
Well,
out of
yeah.
your body. So I think music is larger than we are, and it's a magical healing force in ourselves and our souls and our bodies too.
Could not agree more.
Yeah.
The song "I'll Find You," love the vocals; a really strong vocal, and this is one of my favorites. It's a monster ballad. Was this written for somebody in particular in mind?
This was written by Sue Ennis and Ben Smith, also my longtime drummer with Heart,
Right.
who played on the album as well. And they had the song already put together. I changed it a little bit and I put my spin on it. But I love the song because it's like one of those songs I've always tried to write. I've tried a few times. I've maybe succeeded a couple of times writing a song to catch, like, I'll catch you when you fall. That's the sentiment in the song.
Yep.
Like, I'm there for you no matter what. I'm unconditionally going to help you out. And no matter, if you're hiding or if you're, afraid to show your truth to me, I'm there for you regardless. So, that's what I love about that song too.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's
Beautiful song.
many times in your life that you have to do that for someone else. And it means everything, when you can do that for someone.
Yeah, no question about it. You talked about Daughter already, but curious, anyone from Pearl Jam hear your version of it?
Oh yeah, they heard it. They loved it. They really
Yeah, I'll
loved
bet.
it. I'm buddies with those guys and their manager, Kelly Curtis, forever, that managed them from Mother Love Bone through Mookie Blaylock, through Pearl Jam days. He was like, "Oh, those guys are gonna love this," and I didn't have to. They gave us a family rate for doing it for the album.
That's great.
Yeah, they were thrilled. It was
Not
good.
surprised at all. It's a great version. I got to get to the fans. They're like exploding from the screen, wanting to share.
Yeah.
So JC says, Nance, let the magic begin. And already we're 23 minutes into it and the magic has begun. Alan says, hello, Nancy from Cape Cod. Danielle says, hello. Jacqueline says, hi from Minnesota.
Hi.
Kevin says, hello from New Orleans. And John says, hey, beautiful from Toronto.
Toronto.
That's right. Daniela says, much love to all from Argentina.
Argentina, hello.
We're international here.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, this is from Bob and Maria. Hey, Nancy, saw you sing The Boxer during the 2019 Heart Tour. So glad to see you made it available on your new album. Is that song a personal favorite of yours, or is there some other connection?
Is this Bob and Maria? Bob and Maria, my friends?
They didn't identify themselves as friends, but they identify themselves as Bob and Maria, so I'm going to say yes.
I'm going to say yes.
Yeah.
Hi, you guys. Hi. I did the Boxer on the last Heart Tour because if there's ever going to be a sing-along, that's one to do, because all you have to know is lie, la, lie, just sing the lie, la, lie part. And people were really into that, and it's really a cool song. One of the better Paul Simon songs. That's just one of the songs I grew up singing and love to play and sing. So, and it's cool to go like the first verse to
Right.
go, I am just a poor boy, though my story is seldom told,
Yeah.
because it's like, okay, I'm not going to switch the gender here. I'm going to like
Stay
let it
true to the lyric. Yeah.
stay true to that lyric because there's another dog in the background.
That's great. Just keep them coming.
There's stars of the stage and screen now.
Yes, they are. But they're not for sale. We're not selling them
Oh,
tonight.
no.
Just so everyone knows. Yep. Just want to
Yeah.
make that clear.
Not for sale.
You also snuck in a little bit of a curveball, because I'd read that Sammy Hagar was on the album. You would assume, for those of us not on the inside in relationship with him, that he would have done, a rocker, but ironically, he sings on the Boxer.
That was his stipulation for helping me out on my album, because
Yeah.
we do stuff for each other, and then I kind of texted him and said, hey, dude, you owe me one here. So
Right.
he said, okay, but let it not be a rocker because that's way too expected. What else have you got in your back pocket there? And I said, well, what would you think of doing the Boxer with me? And he says, I love it. He himself was a boxer. His dad was also a boxer.
Right.
So, and then what he brought to the song, I thought really updated it in a fantastic way.
Agreed.
And he also becomes the character of the actual boxer. In the clearing stands a boxer, and it's the Red Rocker in this case.
Yeah. Right.
So it's pretty cool.
It really works. Yeah, you wouldn't think it on the surface, but when you hear it, and kudos to you because you're the producer, right,
Yeah.
on this album. So you kind of called the shots. This is from Kelly. Says, "Hey, Queen Nancy and everyone else. Kelly from Pittsburgh, PA. I have my Pinnacle whipped vodka and Dole pineapple juice nectar along with the chat. So thank you, Kelly, for that." This is from Pika. Hi from Kent, Washington, land of the big hair. So, and this is from Steve. Hello from Middle Tennessee, Nancy. I mean, we got people everywhere that are watching tonight. Will this be released on vinyl? And if plans for vinyl are a go, will you be signing any vinyl copies anytime soon? Maybe we can bring you back out if that happens.
Yeah, we do. We do have a double vinyl planned, with a couple of bonus tracks as well, like Bluebird I do, and Fixing a Hole, and Any Major.
McCartney, the Beatles.
Yeah,
And Steely Dan. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
those are the bonus tracks to expect on the double vinyl.
Excellent. Any idea when that might come through? I know vinyl's been a challenge as far as a backlog.
Do we know when that vinyl is released? Do we know that?
We don't know yet.
I don't know yet, but
It's coming.
it's coming.
coming.
It's
Yeah.
definitely-
And if I don't screw up tonight, maybe Nancy will agree to come back on and sign a few. So
I'll
we'll see how that
definitely
works.
come back on. We'll do some vinyl stuff.
Okay, no pressure. I can't screw up for the next 30 minutes. So I just want to remind everybody we're celebrating the release of Rock and Roll Hall of Famer Nancy Wilson, of course, of Heart, on her new solo album and first official solo album, You and Me. Be the first to buy it. Again, it's officially available tomorrow. She's graciously agreed to sign CDs until we run out. And two of you may receive a special signed CD. Marty, can you throw up one of them? I don't mean virtually throw it up. I mean put it up on the screen.
Yeah,
There we go.
There's
You recognize that?
a little extra artwork for the prize, specific prize. Two very specific prize winners will get those art, the ones with the extra artwork that I did.
Yes, and I have to say, although you look lovely this evening live, Nancy, it's amazing what a Sharpie does to the appearance of one.
Yeah, well, the beard had to go, so.
Understood. It still is a nice look. And what will they win, Nancy? It's pretty cool that you came up with this.
Oh, they will get some lyrics, handwritten lyrics, to go. They're I wrote all the lyrics out for the music stand as I was doing the vocals,
Right.
really big, and then scratching things out and scribbling on stuff. So it's really one of a kind stuff. It's
That's
not.
awesome.
That was the real deal.
So I just want to let everybody know. I just found out about this and it was super exciting. So if you do happen to get, that drawing with the goatee and the fact that you're a winner,
Yeah.
there's two of them out there. And we're selling out pretty quickly, so you want to make sure you buy the signed CDs because there's 2 for sure. We know that for a fact. You want to either reach out to Talk Shop Live if you get that, and you'll send a picture, or you may want to write this down, and that's to music at Ingram, INGRAM, entertainment.com. Don't ask me to spell entertainment. It's been a long day, and I'll probably screw that up. But that's music at ingramentertainment.com. And that's a pretty cool offer. So thanks for doing that for everyone, Nancy.
Yeah.
Probably widely known story, but a great one. I have to ask you, tell us about the first gig you and Ann had. I know it's featured in the book, and it's a great story.
Oh, the first big gig.
That's
Yeah.
right.
We were up in Canada, doing a lot of clubs after the album had come out in Canada first. And we were playing at a dinner club called the Lucifers, which was a kind of a dive with really bad food, right?
Right.
They wanted us to play more disco than we knew, and they wanted us to wear matching uniforms, and which we would not do. And there was a list of rules on the backstage area that's, no swearing, no midriff exposure, no gum chewing.
It's like, what's the point?
So why do you hire a rock band then?
Exactly.
So because we really kind of hated playing there, and so Ann from the stage one night said, so how are you enjoying your food? Because to me it sort of tasted a lot like Lysol, and the people were like, oh, ha, ha, ha,
That's a show closer.
So yeah, we were promptly fired, But meanwhile, we set a little fire in an ashtray before we left. Such rebels.
Lovely parting gift, right?
Yeah, I think we might have burned the list of rules or something. But, so the same day, actually, the phone call came in to our then manager with an offer to open for Rod Stewart across the continent in Montreal in a couple of days. Because they were playing our song there, I guess. And so we got on the train and, the sleeper car and went all the way across to Montreal. Really some lovely country to view from the top level of the train. The viewing car, I guess you call it. And we got there and we opened for Rod Stewart with Magic Man, the first song, which they knew because they'd been playing it on the radio there. Right. And everybody held up their lighters and the place was packed. And all these lighters came on. And we were like, what? Wow, something's really cool is happening right now. And it looked like a constellation of lights.
It's amazing.
It's a big place. And my hair was standing up because it was so gorgeous. And it was such an indicator of good things to come.
Yeah, and it also probably was a message to you that your music was for the masses, right? Sharing that large stage.
And sort of region by region, we kind of spread out into the States, kind of down across the border, like Keishi and St. Louis and
right.
Places like that's where we kind of started out first in the States, and then it kind of eventually the last place to kind of like us was New York because they're so skeptical in New York.
Yeah, the heck with them.
We
you had the rest of the country.
We got through to New York, but that was the last bastion.
Tough to crack them.
Yeah.
Hey, Party at the Angel Ballroom, rocker, great song, written by you, Taylor Hawkins, of course, from Foo Fighters, and Duff McKagan, of course, from Guns N' Roses. You performed, right. I believe, a little rock and roll surgery on the song structure. And why don't you walk us through, briefly the history of the song?
Yeah, I've known Taylor. He's just such a rad kind of friend, He says rad. He says rad all the time. But he's such a surfer dude. You gotta love him. And
yep.
He asked me to sing on his solo album, which is called "Get the Money." Great record. If you should get that record, you guys. And I sang a song called "Don't Look at Me." He has Chrissy Hind on there and some other singers too.
Yeah.
And so when I was starting my album, I said, "Hey, I'm making a solo album now. Can you help me out with anything you might have laying around? Do you have a jam or anything laying around?" So he said, yeah, me and Duff have this jam that we did a while back, and I'm sending it to you. So I kind of rearranged the structure of it and put it to the lyrics and sang it, created the song, sent it back to Taylor, who did all the background vocals for me.
Great
And
vocalist too. I mean, he's really is
yeah,
underrated.
he's an amazing singer, great writer,
Yeah,
amazing drummer too. And
right. No question.
oh, I know. And yeah, and so I just one time, I think when we lost Tom Petty, I was, shaking my head one night, just saying, "Wow, they must be having some kind of party up there in that Angel Ballroom right about now, And there's like, ding, that's a
Yep.
title,
Yep.
and it talks about something really kind of hardcore and dark, but in a very whimsical sort of Fellini movie kind of a way.
Right.
So I thought I really am fond of that one too. It's
Yeah, it's well worth the price of admission as far as the album. Just for that song alone, it's a great song.
fun. Thank you.
You mentioned too, obviously, we know that without the Beatles, there would have been no Heart, right? That was kind of the light bulb that went on that said, that was just magic, both for you
Yeah.
and for Anne. You mentioned you have met McCartney. Were there any other Beatles that you met? Were you able to check the bucket list?
No, I never. I was in a room at a big convention, a record convention one time, in the same room with Ringo Starr,
Wow.
and I could have walked up to him and introduced myself, but I was way too shy,
Yeah.
so I got to look at him.
Yeah. And he
I
probably
got
would have just said peace and love anyway. So,
yeah,
right. Yeah,
peace and love, yeah.
exactly.
I love that he does that like every minute. It's
Right.
really very cute. It's good and predictable in the best possible way.
That's right.
Yeah, and I met Paul a few times, and like meeting Bruce Springsteen or Robert Plant too. These guys are so wonderful. They'll just chat with you and
Yeah.
disarm you and just talk about music and whatever else. And Robert Plant's another one. He's just a wonderful spiritual dude with
He
just a
is.
glow. He's got an aura.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so amazing. Yeah.
It's really true. I've had the fortune of meeting him a number of times, and not to mention a big American music fan.
Oh, I know. I mean,
Right?
look,
Yeah.
Zeppelin retranslated American blues back through the English lands, I think, in the really
Yeah.
most amazing way. Like a lot of the British invasion guys, like Clapton and a bunch
Absolutely.
of yeah.
Yeah, this show's about you, not me, but I just have to share one quick story. And that was I was backstage in Chicago. He was touring a solo artist in 1985. And I got to have like one-on-one time with him. And he said, we're talking about blues artists. Chicago's a big blues city. And he
Yeah.
said, hey, I'll let you in on something. I'm flying to Philadelphia and I'm going to get together with James and we're going to see if there's any magic.
Oh,
And he was smiling, and I looked at him and said, "That's great." I had no idea what he was talking about. And 3 days later, he reunited with Jimmy Page for Live Aid. So I'm like, you idiot! He just told you a secret. He was reuniting with Jimmy Page, and I didn't even get it. But
wow.
what an amazing soul and talent, no question about it. So Ed says, I would love to see a Nancy Wilson tour with Roadcase Royale. Are there any plans to tour?
Well, Roadcase Royale had a great little run opening for Bob Seger not that long ago.
Yeah,
And Liv Warfield, I brought her in to sing that Cranberry song, Dreams, with me on my album.
yeah,
And we have a plan actually, it's on July 9th in Seattle to me and Liv and the band, the Heart guys that played on my album with me,
great.
to do a show in Seattle with the Seattle Symphony, no
Wow.
less. With starting out with just me acoustic by myself, and then bringing the band out, and with Liv, and then singing some of the Heart stuff that we did with Roadcase as well. So we can do Barracuda and we can do Crazy
Right.
Onions and These Dreams. I can't sing Barracuda very well because it's way high for me. But Liv sure can. So
Yeah,
we'll do some of the new stuff on that show, and then just to further extend the question is that Heart does have an offer on the table right now with Live Nation to go out in 2022.
that's
So
great.
lots of fun to be had on live stages coming up.
That's great news.
Right.
And you mentioned Liv Warfield, and for those of you that don't know her, she's amazing. I mean, if you
Oh
should go
my.
on YouTube and just see her perform "Give Me Shelter," and it was like religion, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it just sends chills up your spine. She's amazing.
Yeah. We did one version of Barracuda with her with Nuno Bentoncourt as well with on what is it? Up Close and Personal show. I
Yep.
forget the name of the show.
Was
At
that
home.
that was at an LA club? Was it or?
Well, we had done that too with
Oh,
Liv.
okay.
Yeah, there was Nuno and Friends. Yeah, at that at the Lucky Strike there. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can find that on YouTube. Great performance.
Yeah.
So let's see what else. So we have Kelly. If you had to pick 4 songs of this phenomenal new CD to support a solo tour, which ones would you choose, combined with Roadcase Royale and Heart Songs? When you just covered the letter.
4 songs. I would do You and Me.
Yep.
I would do Party at the Angel Ballroom,
Yep.
and I'd do probably I don't know,
The Dragon, maybe.
maybe The Dragon and Fort Edward.
There you go. Okay, Road Trip. I guess I'm going to have to see that for sure.
Road
Uh,
trip.
That's right. Douglas says, hey, from Fort Lauderdale. And JC says, I can't clap any louder. Love you, Nance. Steve says, yay. Hi, Nancy. Jill says, thank you, Nancy.
Oh,
And Colleen says, hey, Nancy, thank you for the music. Michael, excited for this album. And again, reminding everyone we're celebrating tonight the release of Nancy Wilson's very first studio solo album, You and Me. And you can be the first to buy it. It officially releases tomorrow. And she's graciously agreed to sign all the CDs. Look at that, right on cue, Marty. Thanks. There'll be something extra in your Christmas stocking this year. So she's agreed to sign the CDs, but you need to buy them pretty quick because we're going to run out. And 2 of you will receive a specially signed CD that resembles something like what you see here on the screen. And Nancy, tell them, what will they win?
well, I have lyric sheets that I myself wrote large letters so I could read them on the stand as I did the vocals.
Right.
And there's a lot of messing, scribbling, and changes and crossing out, and so these are the real ones that I used that I wrote myself.
That's great.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them that I have. So there'll be various prizes along the way. as
There we go. So if you happen to get one of those, take a picture, send it to Talk Shop Live or to music at Ingram Entertainment, INGRAM Entertainment.com. Hey, Walk Away is a dramatic song. Was it pointed to someone more of like a third person perspective?
Yeah. Well, it's a situation we've all found ourselves inside of a toxic relationship.
Yeah.
Where there's a lesson that you have to learn, how to walk away from something that's harmful to yourself and to the other person that you're probably both guilty of enabling each other to do. And so that's kind of a okay, lesson learned the hard way type of a song about relationships. But it's a true story that
Yeah.
even a couple of times in my own lifetime I've had to survive that stuff. I
Well,
think everybody does.
great guitar work and also brilliant orchestral arrangement too. There's real strings on this album.
It's real strings. The same guy that's gonna kind of head up the symphony show in Seattle.
I got to sneak this one in. It's kind of, again, on a bucket list, but Dog and Butterfly is like the perfect song ever written. And I know you're responsible for the musical side of it, the guitar part, the melody line, the vocal arrangement, the harmonies, the chord progression, the whole 9 yards. Should have been a bigger hit when it was first released. It's mind-boggling, but it's just gained traction in life through the years. It's just amazing. And I just want to share with you, I would sit in the crowd because I've seen Heart several times live, and I'm not ashamed to say that, no, it wasn't like the woman, grabbed my arm and put her head on my shoulder. It was me that was about ready to ball up, in terms of my eyes. And if I hadn't drank maybe 6 beers and the tear ducts drying from alcohol, I would have been openly weeping every time. I mean, that song resonates. It's just an amazing song, like a once in a lifetime song. Of course, you've written so many of them.
An interesting song. It's a beautiful song.
Yeah.
It's that song. If there's one song that I think really describes my lyrically describes my sister's amazing song skill. It's that one. It describes her personality in a way that part of her character is always a seeker. Like she's always been a seeker, looking for the wise owl,
Right.
the old man, the wise old man thing.
Right.
And I love that about the song. But it's kind of like very esoterically written. The music's really, really supports the poetic, nature of the song. But people will cry when we play that live.
Yep.
You'll see people in tears because it's a soundtrack to their life too. But then a lot of people have said, I love that song so much, but what's it about? What does it mean exactly?
Right.
And so we kind of had to come up with an answer,
Yep.
because it's an esoteric idea of a song. So it's like, just follow your dreams, just try and try again. Even if the dog doesn't catch the butterfly, just keep on trying, follow your dreams.
Absolutely. An amazing song. Hey, the In Between, which is on this album, love the intro. The electric piano is kind of like a throwback, a little bit, the sound. A feel-good arrangement, great production. And I also suspect you're really proud of this song because there's a family member that's tied to it.
Yeah, my son Curtis, a few years actually ago, wrote this like whimsical poem for a class
Right.
when he was going to the French school in LA. And I kind of saved it in my phone because I thought, oh, someday this would probably make a fun song, to write. And then that someday came along, which was after the last administration had already kind of made the song more relevant,
Right.
just by saying left and right and wrong and black and white and why can't we find a bigger lens? Why can't we meet in the middle somehow? So I
Exactly.
kind of added to it and made it into a fun song. Again, a song that's kind of deals with a heavy topic, but it's whimsical
Yeah.
in its delivery, which makes it more palatable, I think, in general.
Absolutely. It's a great song. I also love The Dragon. I mentioned that before. And you've had this one for a while, right? And it's also tied
Yeah.
to your buddies, Alice in Chains.
Yeah, I wrote it in the early 90s and thought it was for Heart, but it just never appeared to be the right for Heart. So it was still in my back pocket
Yeah.
for this album. And, I'd met all those guys in Seattle, the Seattle Explosion, my Brotherhood. And Lane Staley was, of course, the singer for Alice in Chains,
Yeah.
who had a big addiction problem. And even way before he, lost his life. But
Right.
so for a long time, knowing him and seeing him, go by the way of the dark ladder that leads down to the dungeon where the dragon waits, symbolically speaking, I thought he was such a sweet person, and I felt so bad in advance for him, knowing what was going to happen.
Right.
So that's what that song was all about.
The dog concurs.
Yep, the dogs agree.
And I'm just curious. I mean, I'm sure you've kind of considered it for Heart, right? Over time, and for whatever reason, just never clicked.
We played it a few times with Heart, and
Yeah.
it just was not a fit for Heart. I'm
Yeah.
not even sure why that was, but there was only a couple parts. There was one part that seemed to be missing. That turned into like the little you never know little turnaround part, which finally came along later. So I think it was finally finished and it finally made the album better.
Yeah, it's great. Absolutely great cut. Again, just that song alone is worth the price of admission. Steve says, yay. Hi,
Yeah.
Nancy. Jill, Nate, thank you, Nancy. Colleen says, hi, Nancy. Thank you for the music. Michael, excited for the album. The people are just happy to see you and hear you and that you're putting out new music. Kelly says, thanks for doing this. Steve says, carry on with making that ruckus by all means. Joel says, hello from Singapore.
Wow, that's Singapore. Wow.
Yeah, and JC agrees that he always loved that live acoustic CD. Thanks so much for signing it for me at the New York event, and you can get a second one signed. Of course, JC, we putting you on the spot. That's that new solo album, You and Me. So don't miss out on that. And also, this is just a reminder. Again, we're celebrating the release of her first official solo album, and it's You and Me. Be the first to buy it. And Nancy has graciously agreed to sign several of them, but they're selling exceptionally fast. And there it is again. You may be one of two people that get this uniquely signed CD. And if you do, send us a picture either to Talk Shop Live or to music@ingram.com. And you will get hand-signed lyrics, a one-of-a-kind gift from Nancy for you being here and for supporting her art. And we should certainly be thankful and support her for sharing her art with us.
And I'll actually personalize those if you send us your name as well.
Okay.
When I do come back to do the vinyl show, I'll sign some vinyls as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Put me down for 100. I want to get in on that. So
Okay.
there we go. You might have to sign some more. Let's talk about We Meet Again. It's a bit of a nod to Paul Simon, right? Tell us about the message in the song and the beautiful finger picking and vocals. Just really make that such a great tune.
Thank you. Well, when I was learning the finger style, it was mainly because of Paul Simon that I was emulating his type of finger style. And when I was working on the soundtrack for Jerry Maguire later, I incorporated that finger style like that into some of the music for Jerry Maguire. And I realized later that I could sort of do a takeoff of that stylistic and that sort of shape of some of the score music for Jerry Maguire and make it into a song.
Right.
So that's kind of where it started out. And then I was trying to channel my inner Paul Simon, which, nobody's as good as Paul Simon, but
well, you
kind
come pretty darn close. I don't know.
I tried to wax poetic and, look down the long horizon of time and like being in love and stuff, in a serious relationship with someone who you're in maybe the fourth quarter of your time on earth together, that you're looking to make it all the way through, like all the way that the river goes to the ocean. You're going to make it with your beloved person, so the person who's your soulmate. So that's kind of what the imagery in that song is really all about.
So in other words, you wrote it for Jeff, right?
Yeah,
Is that what you're saying? Yeah, we knew that. We had to say that, Jeff. So anyway, Madison said, I met you backstage in Cleveland in 2004. I'm sure you remember that, Nancy. It was a life dream. And I named my new dog a black schnauzer, Zoe Lamoureux, after you.
Kidding. That's a cool name.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome.
The nickname would be Lemmykins, I would imagine.
There you go.
Lemmykins.
All right. Hey, Nancy, this is from Paul, Anaheim, California. Thanks for all you've done in your career. It's been a thrill to enjoy your God-given talent you shared with the world. And it's touched so many of us. And it echoes what we all feel. Love you. Jason, the coolest stories are two of them playing political songs in church and driving out half the congregation out of the pews. That's another great life story, which is probably your first unofficial gig, right? I mean,
one of the most important unofficial church gigs for sure.
Yeah. And what was it? Remember what the last song was that you played of what was it, 3 songs or so?
Yeah.
It was a Doors song, wasn't it?
We did When the Music's Over, which also has, cancel my subscription to the Resurrection.
That's right.
And send my credentials. And then we did I Saw You Crying in the Chapel by Elvis Presley in a real sarcastic sort of way. So, yeah, it didn't go over too well.
I just have to commend you on the Doors choice, though. You could have closed with The End. That would have really cleared the house.
This is the end.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Absolutely.
My parents stayed put and proudly. So they were the open-minded other half of the congregation that didn't walk out. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
all in the book.
Okay, but not available. It was never recorded, right? So it won't see the light of day. It's too bad. I would cherish hearing that at least a couple of times. And hey, the last song is one that also is pretty emotional for you, right? And that's For Edward, and that's your gift kind of back to Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah, he. If I, you've probably heard me tell the story already, maybe a
Yeah, but
couple.
some haven't,
But
probably.
yeah, well, then I'll go ahead because it's fun to tell the story of
Yeah.
when our two bands were on the road here and there together, festivals and different big stadium shows and stuff, and we fell into a good friend. Me and Eddie fell into a friendship together. We really admired each other, and we had fun just hanging out. We were joking about, oh, hey, two brothers, two sisters, let's have a drink.
Yeah.
So we'd go down to the hotel bar, and they'd say, try this one, and we'd say, what is it? Well, this is a kamikaze. We love these things. Like, oh, okay, wow, that's a strong drink. How can you have three, or four of those? And those guys were crazy partiers,
Yep.
and they somehow showed up and did a really good job on stage every time. But so Eddie one time said, I really love the way you play your acoustic guitar. And I said, oh, wow, thanks. Why don't you play more acoustic? And he said, well, I don't really have one. So I'm like, that's impossible. You have to have an acoustic guitar.
Mind-boggling.
So here's one right now. I have this one in the guitar vault right here for you now to take this. And so he took it to his hotel that night, stayed up all night, probably partying as usual, and called my room at the crack of dawn and said, check this out. And he played me this thing on the acoustic that I gave him that was so beautiful. It was this instrumental, beautiful, kind of churchy and kind of rocky and, really melodic, major key kind of thing. And so when I agreed to do an acoustic instrumental for the album, which I was, asked to do, like, okay, I'll do that. And I'll do it for Eddie Van Halen, and then instantly it was like, did I just say that? What am I going to do? How am I going to live up to that? And so I kind of reached back in my mind and all of my notes and my little recorded notes and stuff and thought, well, if I could even conjure something close to what I remember so long ago from what he played me on the phone that night, that's how I got started. And that's how I started to finally get to creating it. But in the book, I was reminded that I said that I said, thanks for that beautiful thing that you played me this morning on the phone, to Eddie. He's like, what? Like he might have never recorded it or ever remembered
what a shame,
it.
Right?
I know, right?
Brilliant piece of work.
I hope he finally did record it and remember it at some point.
Maybe it surfaces.
He might have been too hungover to remember at the moment.
Yeah, I know, but time is just flying by. How you doing on time? Are you okay?
I'm good.
Okay, awesome. So I don't want to. There's so many fans that have sent messages here. This is from Brian. Howdy from Houston. Just ordered my autographed copy. Jason, where does a Seattle rock and roll Halloween party happen now that Big Yeller isn't Ann's anymore?
Yeah, well, Ann's in Florida now, and I'm in California now. But those were some very famous parties. A lot of party crashers would show up and you wouldn't know they were crashing the party because they were in costume. So there was some wild Halloween parties along the way at Big Yeller, which was the nickname for Ann's big old cool house that she had there.
Yeah, that's great. Well, let's see if technology is friendly to us this time. But let's watch and listen to a portion of another song from the album You and Me. Marty, if you have it queued up, roll the digital.
Welcome back. I feel you here. Gravity always pulls us back together for all time. endlessly, and we stay up too late, eating up in some suspended state. No reason to hurry, don't need to worry, 'cause you always show me the way home. You and me, mama, always you and me. You were right. My heart would be put to the test if I fell in love. Lost it all so powerless. I need your voice. And everything can fall right back into its place. Mama, can you make it all okay? No reason to hurry, no reason to worry, 'cause you always show me the way. You and
Nice. It really looks good.
It's a beautiful opener. It's the title track, "You and Me." I know your mother obviously is tied to that based on the lyrics. Was it what inspired the song? Was it an event, or that, or just just kind of you just thinking about her randomly that kind of drove the lyrics to the song?
Well, yeah, I'd actually had a dream
Yeah.
where my mom was there and
Mhm.
we were, just having a talk, and she was being like, consoling and supportive about the tough times we were all going through,
Yeah.
down here on the planet. And
Wow.
and it just felt so nice to see her after I woke up, and it made me feel good and happy and like protected,
Yeah.
from my guardian angel, from somewhere in zero gravity where I could talk to her through my DNA,
Right.
So um and my collaborator Sue Ennis, who's worked with Heart Forever, she had a song. She had the kind of the music already for the song for her mother that she had written called "Follow Me," and after the dream, I wrote a bunch of words with "You and Me" and "Gravity." So we kind of did a hybrid of our two mom songs.
That's great.
I love, and she sings on that one with me too.
Yeah, it's
So
beautiful.
it's a nice song.
Yeah, great opener. I just wanted to say too that we've got some more messages. I mean, we could be here all night, so I'm just going to cherry pick a couple of them. Steve, being a longtime Van Halen fan, for Edward is a poignant and fitting tribute. Thank you so much for that instrumental. And Mike wants to know if you have the Bob Dylan guitar pick I gave you years ago in Orlando. I'm sure you remember that.
I do have. I've
Look,
got an amazing collection of. And that's one of my best guitar picks that I ever got to collect. That's a really special one.
there you go, Mike. And for getting that question in, you are required to buy 2 copies to give for you and your friend. And this is from for Carrie Ann. Hi, Nancy. Wonder if Hart will come and play a concert in Norway. So you said there's already a tour on the table for your consideration, and Ann made some recent news too. I'm sure you heard about that, saying that while you're at distance and you haven't really been writing together, with the pandemic and everything, that and some there will be some collaboration in the future of some kind, whether that's combination of your material and hers or collaborating together. So what say you, Nancy?
Well, what I say is that I think that would be really amazing.
Yeah.
She's done some new music of her own, solo stuff that is very cool. And obviously, there would probably be a couple of songs off my solo album that might really fit the Heart framework and would be really fun to do with Heart. So,
for sure.
and I love the Heart players and all of that. So. I'd love to extend kind of like an Elton John concept where you do like your quote unquote farewell tour, which never ends up really being a farewell.
That's right.
But for a couple of years, and you could get to Norway, and you could get over to Germany, and you could get back to all through Canada, and you could go to Japan again, and
Yep.
Argentina, and all those places. we'd like to finally get back to. So
I'll bet. And probably this time take your time so you get to enjoy some of those locations a little bit as you're visiting them,
yeah, like a
right?
humane style of touring would be
Yeah.
great.
What a concept.
Believe it, that just trust
Okay,
it.
we're,
Yeah,
we're we're banking on that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
again, I want to remind everybody we're celebrating the release of Rock and Roll Hall of Famer Nancy Wilson of Heart's new and first studio solo album, You and Me. Be the first to buy it, and she's graciously agreed to sign the CDs until we run out. And two of you may receive or will receive a specially signed CD with a beautifully a
Additional
beautiful
graphics.
goatee, right?
Yes,
Um,
additional graphics by me.
yeah, there you go. We love it. So if you get that, just reach out to Talk Shop Live, identify yourself, and share the image. No, you can't take pictures off the screen and submit them. We'll know if it's a CD or not. So no cheating, and you will get hand-signed lyrics. And she's even thrown in another great offer. She's going to personalize it. How cool is that, folks?
Yeah.
So buy them up. The more you buy, the greater the chance. Give them to your friends and family, and it's cathartic. It's definitely the prescription we need going through this pandemic and all the challenges. Just hit the buy button. The rest is easy. Nancy, I mean, we could, you've been so gracious with your time as well as for signing those CDs. Anything you want to leave as a last note to your fans on the album, a message you want to send to them?
Well, Steve, I mean, we would never be Heart, or I wouldn't even be here without the fans. So, there's so much love that comes from you guys, but believe it, comes right back at you. And we love you guys for still being there. Everybody's been so loyal to us for a long time. And even, kids, younger people that have kind of discovered us more recently too. It's really good to see you, good to know you, and thanks for being there.
That's great. And Mike said, hey, I actually bought 4. And Ed said, thank you for always having time for your fans. Again, it was a real pleasure. And I just wanted to let everyone know next week, Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern, we have John Hyatt and Jerry Douglas, which is going to be pretty amazing, signing CDs. And want to throw a shout out to Madeline from Carry On Records, who was instrumental in bringing us together. So thank you for that, Madeline, and for putting up with all my nonsense. And Stephen Laurie from Red Eye, Brian and Marty at Talk Shop Live, thank you guys for giving us the forum so that we can bring amazing talent like Nancy here tonight, to Jessica, Brad, and Rick from Ingram, and of course Jeff and Nancy's team for being there. But most importantly, Nancy, thank you for being here with us tonight. Thank you for everything and for holding down the fort. I just want to say thanks again, folks, for joining us tonight. Don't forget, buy You and Me before we run out. Nancy Wilson's new album, you won't be disappointed. Thanks for joining us. Stay safe, rock on. So long, everybody.
Thanks, y'all.